Hello everyone, welcome to Mobility Academy. I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia. In today's video, I'd like to show you a beautiful exercise to stretch your adductors, your hamstrings, and to mobilize your hips and your ankles. This exercise is called the horse stance or Sumo Squat. But before I start, let me ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you'll never miss one of my next videos. With that said, let's start. The horse stance or sumo squat is a really important exercise to start working on your hip abduction and to stretch your adductors and hip extensors. Maybe you want to achieve the side split or get deeper into a squat position. So this exercise is really useful for that. I start from the freestanding variation, okay, without the weights, but you can use some weights to adjust the intensity of the position as you want. But I strongly suggest you starting without the weights just to understand better the movement, okay? So the horse stance is done like this. You start here in a standing position and you spread your feet wide apart. From this position here, you want to make sure that as you squat down, you can bring your hips in line with your knees. Okay, so this is like a squat motion, but with your feet wide apart. So as you are here, you want to drive your hips down and drive your knees out. You don't want to externally rotate your feet too much. You want to turn them a little bit more in. So I suggest keeping like a 45 degrees angle out. So you just extend from here, you just externally rotate your feet 45 degrees out. From this position here, you keep your torso upright, okay, perpendicular to the floor, and you drive your knees out and your hips down. So from here, you can start wherever you are, wherever your flexibility, wherever it is like your flexibility level. So for example, you can start here, you drive your hips down and your knees out. Now, the most important thing here, I think that is driving the knees out. Like, try to imagine like there's like a wall in front of you here, and you can't touch it, okay, with your knees. So the wall is here, and you don't want to touch the wall. You want to drive your knees away from the wall in front of you. To do that, you can squeeze your hip abductors and your glutes just to spread your knees wide and back. So down, and I reach this position with my hips. I drive my hips as low as I can, and then I come back. I can repeat here, 1, 2, and I come back. I really want to feel that stretch of my adductors as I am in the position here, and back. And again, the last one, and back. Okay, as you can see here, I'm working on my hip abduction because I'm driving my knees out. And the final position, like when I am in the squat, is really similar to a side split because my femurs are approximately in the same position. But I'm using the force of gravity to push my hips down and to increase my hip abduction, okay? Now, there are two main ways to increase the intensity of this stretch. The first one is to widen your feet. The second one is to use a weight. You can use both also at the same time. Now, I want to start with the progression where you use a weight, okay? So you keep the weight in front of your chest. So here, you keep your torso perpendicular to the floor, and from this position you drive your knees out and you repeat the exact same movement, but with the weight you'll feel that your hips will be forced down even more. So down, I want to drive down my hips I want to squeeze those glutes, drive those knees out, and come back into the starting position. The most important part of the movement is this part here, the bottom part, where I want to pause a couple of seconds and come back up. I want to go down, pause a couple of seconds here, and come back up. And again, 1, 2, and I come back up. Now, this is the first thing you can do to increase the intensity of the stretch. As you can see, the most important part of the exercise is the bottom part, so you want to spend extra time there. So I don't want to spend time here because I'm not building range of motion here. I'm building range of motion once I am in the bottom part of the movement, once I am in the stretch, okay? So I want to go down into the stretch and feel that like stretch on my adductors and hip extensors here. To increase the stretch there, you can use a weight because you can push your hips further into the stretch, lower. Now, it's really important that once you use the weight, you choose the right weight, okay? You don't want to use a weight which is not helping you getting deeper into the stretch. You want to use a weight that is helping you like lowering your hips more, okay? Because if you use too much weight, you'll feel like you can't get any further because the weight is too much and you can't sustain that kind of weight with the strength of your legs. You don't want to do that. So use a weight which is helping you getting deeper. You want to feel that the stretch is better. You should care only about the stretch, okay? This is what you need to care about, okay? So you want to use a weight that is helping you getting deeper into the stretch. Make sure that you pick up the right weight. Now, the second way to increase the stretch here is spreading your feet wider apart, okay? So, for example, I was here. Once I feel and I see that my hips are on the same line of my knees, which means that as I am here, as you can see, here I have my hips and here I have my knees. Now I am also a little bit lower. I can spread my feet wider apart, just a bit, because it's really different, the kind of stretch you obtain by like spreading your feet wider apart. Okay, so I spread my feet, I spread my feet wider, okay, and I repeat the movement. So I drive my hips down, I find the position here, 1, 2, and I come back in the position. I need to feel that hip abduction as I am in the stretch here. 2, and I come back, and again, one last time, 1, 2, and I come back. I feel that I'm squeezing my glutes. I'm activating my glutes to spread my knees out, okay? Now with the weight, same. The aim here is always to feel more and more stretch. So I go down. I want to increase my sensation of stretch. My hips are getting lower thanks to the weight, and I come back up. And again, 1, 2, and I come back up. 1, 2, and I come back up. And that's it. So this is how you want to do the horse stance or the sumo squat. So that's all for the sumo squat or horse stance. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about how to use this exercise. You can use this exercise to warm up your hips. So as a warm up before your strength sessions, your flexibility sessions, or whatever kind of activity you are doing, you can use this one to warm up your hips and mobilize them. You can do from 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions, but the most important thing is that you pause for at least 2 seconds in the bottom part of each rep. But I also suggest you spending a little bit more time on the last rep, remaining in the bottom position for 10 to 20 seconds, for example, just to stretch the hips more, okay? So that's how you can use this exercise to improve your flexibility level. If you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button or leave me a comment if you have any further questions. That's all from the Flexibility Guy, Coach Elia. Have a nice stretch and see you in the next video.